Today's play here at Liath takes place in Dingle Bay in Ireland. And naturally we incorporate a lot of Irish folklore and such, like banshees and giants. And today we have a story of a giant known as Finn McCool. Now in our story we have this evil, sinister giant named Ben McDwee. And we have a more lighthearted story of the giant Finn McCool that we'd like to share for you right now. So without further ado, I'd say the story of Finn McCool. Finn McCool was a self-satisfied giant. There was nothing he loved more in the world than scaling up mountains and diving off cliff edges and smashing boulders with his bare hands. And now naturally, all the women of the village just adored him. They would say things like, "Oh, Finn, you're so powerful and handsome and lovely." But there was one woman who did not appreciate this, and that would be his wife, Liath. And naturally, she had some very strict words for her husband. She would say, "Oh, Finn, you know that attitude of yours, it's going to get you into trouble." But Finn didn't take any of this to heart, does he ever? And he would just say, "Oh, Liath, you know that I'm handsome and powerful. There's never been a threat I couldn't handle. Now, give me a kiss, for I'm off to Scotland. There are giants there that I must conquer." So Liath gave him a kiss, and he went out. He gathered his loyal warriors, the Fianna, and they went on their way to gather stones and boulders to create an enormous bridge across the seas to Scotland. And as they did this, there'd be a pounding of the boulders, and another pounding. And occasionally their work would be interrupted to have Finn admire his reflection in the water. And all of a sudden, there was an eerie whistling in the distance. Stopped all of their work. I wondered what on earth it could be. But all of a sudden, from out of the water came one of their spies, and he blubbered out and was muttering about giants. And he would say, Finn, there's this great giant named Fatakmor. He's heard all about you, and he's come to kill you. He has a magic little finger with the strength of 10 men. Oh, and that whistling you hear in the distance, that's him practicing for the long jump across the sea." Now, Finn was worried. He knew that he would not stand a chance against a giant like this. So hurriedly he said, "You can all you can take the day off. I'm just going to go home to get something." And he ran all the way back home. Oh, there was not any singing this time. And sometimes his run was interrupted when he'd hear a whistling in the distance. It was just the north wind practicing for the winter. Finally, Finn made it home, and he knocked on the door. Liath welcomed him in, but she could tell something was not right with her husband. So she asked him, "Finn, what's the matter? You're not supposed to be back so soon." And Finn told her all about the giant Fatakmor and his magic little finger. And he asked her, "What am I going to do?" But Liath, being the ever calm and steady wife, just told him, "Was that all you're worried about? Come now, I have a plan. I need you to build an enormous cradle." Finn had no idea what she was referring to, but he did as she said anyway. He spent all day chopping wood and gathering it all to build this enormous cradle. And all of a sudden, just as he had finished, there was a huge knock on the door. And Finn was worried. He didn't know what to do. So Liath told him, "Quick, put on this bonnet and jump into the cradle." And Finn did so and huddled in the corner. Liath went to go answer the door and was greeted by the giant Fatakmor. Fatakmor bellowed at her, "Does Finn McCool live here?" And she told him, Yes, he does." "Well, I'm the giant Fatakmor, and I've come to kill him." Well, Finn's out of the house for the moment. He won't be back for hours. Well, in the meantime, why don't we just come inside and take a load off? So Fatah Moor came in, and he squeezed his way into the house, and he noticed the cradle. He came forward and asked, "Is this Finn's child?" And Liath told him, yes, he is. "He's enormous." How old is he?" "Oh, no, he's hardly 10 months at this point." "Oh, you should see his father, though. He's huge, and he doesn't like anyone messing with his son." Can he speak?" "Oh, no, he can't form any words yet. But you should hear him wail and cry. He can be heard from miles from here." And all of a sudden, Finn started to cry. "No," Liath told him. No, you have to stop him. If Finn hears him crying, he'll kill you." "How am I going to stop?" "Well, you must take your little finger and stick it in his mouth. That's the only thing that we found that stops him from crying." So Fatah Moor hurriedly went and stuck his little finger in Finn's mouth. And all of a sudden, there was a crunch, 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 and Finn bit and bit all of the magic out of Fatah Moor's little finger. And he wailed and wailed and ran all the way back home to Scotland. And Finn was so happy, he jumped out of the cradle and he danced with Liath all across the room. Now the Giant's Causeway was never finished. Its huge stepping stones remained there still, stretching towards Scotland. And some say they can still hear Fatah Moor wailing in the distance over his little finger. Maybe it's just the north wind practicing for the winter.